So I took a little hiatus for a couple weeks there. Essentially, I'm still trying to figure out how to switch the channel over from a political-based channel to more of a health-based channel. And I will be making a video. I did make a petition to impeach Nancy Pelosi. Unfortunately, my petitions don't get the signatures they should. I'll put a link to the petition in the description. But this video is not going to be about that. I'll be making a separate video about impeaching Nancy Pelosi for her anti-white statements, which she most definitely did make, and I will leave a link to that in the description. But this video is going to be about the Eco-Atkins diet. And what is the Eco-Atkins diet? The Eco-Atkins diet is a vegetarian or vegan form of the Atkins diet, which was the diet that I was on when I first became a vegan. I don't even remember how long ago. It's probably over 10 years ago now I've been vegan, meaning I've eaten no animal products whatsoever. I went from I basically went from pescatarian to lacto-ovo-vegetarian to ovo-vegetarian to vegan was the transition I made. So that's the story behind my transition to veganism. But initially, being that I am a fan of the Atkins diet literally saved my life, okay? When I was overweight, the Atkins diet literally saved my life by reducing my BMI, okay, when I was a teenager. So that's something that people need to take into consideration when they go, oh, Atkins is bad and this and that. Atkins can be a very healthy diet or a not so healthy diet, depending on the things that you're eating, okay? Now, the thing that you have to take into consideration is a lot of people will say, now I didn't switch to the Eco-Atkins diet in the sense of the Eco-Atkins diet. And the reason why was I didn't even know the Eco-Atkins diet existed. What I did, the Eco-Atkins diet is not anything new. It's just a vegan Atkins diet, which is completely plausible to do with being armed with with Dr. Atkins' new diet revolution. You can totally do that vegan. There's plenty of foods on that list that are vegan, and it might be restrictive. It might not taste the best if you don't know how to cook. That's a big thing. If you don't know how to cook, more people need to learn how to cook. But you can totally do a vegan Atkins diet just with the Atkins' new diet revolution. Now, the Eco-Atkins diet is essentially a very healthy diet compared to other diets, even including the basically including the higher carbohydrate diets. And the reason I transitioned back, now the Eco-Atkins diet is different than the Atkins diet I was on in the sense that it is higher in carbohydrate. The Eco-Atkins diet is not very restrictive. You won't be going into ketosis on the Eco-Atkins diet. And it's a good diet. Like, I keep my macros pretty balanced, 33, 33, 33. I try to get 1/3 of my calories from each macro, which is not difficult. It's not difficult if you're trying hard, if you're incorporating a lot of say textured soy proteins and things like that. You can get pea protein is my favorite. I like to, chug down some pea protein. It's absolutely disgusting, but it is protein. And tofu. What people don't understand about tofu is, as long as you're not allergic to soy, tofu is very high protein and also rich in ALA, or the plant omega-3s. It's a very balanced food for a ketogenic diet or a low carbohydrate diet. Now, the research that I'm leaving in the description proves that the Eco-Atkins diet is superior to a lot of other diets. And this is what led me to be concerned about, for example, like Walter Longo, when I read his book and when I watched some of his interviews. I also want to point out a high-protein diet does have a number of health benefits, because Walter Longo is the one that stated a high-protein diet doesn't have any health benefits. Ultimately, what seems to matter is, where is that protein coming from? Is that protein coming from meats and animal products, or is that protein coming from soy and peas and beans and lentils and things of that nature? And that's what you have to take into consideration. Where's the protein coming from? and that seems to control the outcome quite a bit. Now, I want to remind everybody, I am not a medical doctor, I am not a nutritionist, I am not a dietitian. This video is not medical advice. But the fact of the matter is, and the other thing that Longo states is that, and I think it's ridiculous to extrapolate these things, because it just does not, I don't think it makes very much sense, where he says have an age appropriate waistline. Okay, I don't buy that. I believe that having too much reserve fat in the midsection, even if it's an age appropriate waistline, isn't that great of an idea. Now, yes, the research shows that people with age-appropriate waistlines, according to Longo, did live the longest. However, it also is common sense that being overweight is not a healthy thing, period. So, having more muscle mass and less fat mass helps you live longer. And I'm going to post links to that, about how being more well-muscled, it obviously helps you live longer because it increases your mobility, and a lot of people die from a lack of mobility or a lack of being able to breathe, which is another thing associated with weakness. So a higher protein diet helps you resist sarcopenia. A higher protein diet is necessary for the creation of many things. And the reason I'm saying this is I fell for the McDougall nonsense. Okay, I tried the starch solution, and I did. It worked very well by me as long as I was exercising for 3 to 6 hours a day. And that's what they don't point that out. There's a reason that the starch solution was implemented by gladiators. They could afford to exercise that much. When you can't exercise that much, or at least in my situation, I gained weight, I developed asthma, I developed tachycardia. I'm not saying it was only the starch solution, but that's pretty much the only thing that changed in my life. Was I cut the fats, I cut the proteins down, and I tried to live off of a starch-based diet for 3 years, and it wrecked my metabolism. The Atkins diet, the Zone diet, the Eco Atkins diet, the Scarborough solution, these high-protein, lower carbohydrate diets, moderate fat diets, or high fat diets, they work like a charm on metabolic syndrome. Whereas the higher carbohydrate diets do not. Of course, by going plant-based, you're getting the benefits of the plant-based diets. One of the things that's interesting, a high animal protein diet increases your risk of all-cause mortality. Whether it's Atkins, whether it's just a regular meat-centered diet. So all-cause mortality is increased with animal protein. It is decreased, and I'll leave a video from Dr. Greger showing this, it is decreased if the protein comes from plants. Fat sources on Eco Atkins. I'm going to do a video about why I reincorporated canola oil into my diet. A lot of people don't like canola oil. They think it's the devil's oil. But canola oil, if you read the original paleo diet by, what's his name? Loren Cordain, Loren Cordain, the guy that wrote the original paleo diet, he encourages the consumption of canola oil because canola oil is rich in omega-3. It has a good omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. And on top of this, it's very high in oleic acid, omega-9 fatty acids, what's in olive oil. So I've reincorporated both canola oil and olive oil into my diets. You don't want a ton of oil, that's true, but you don't want to remove the oil from the diet because you need the fat to make hormones, okay? And that's basically all for this video. I'm going to leave the links in the description. Please feel free to check out the links. I'm going to be doing more book reviews in the future. And I'm also going to be making that video about impeaching Nancy Pelosi for her anti-white, anti-Christian, and anti-Catholic statements.